Hi guys, welcome back, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. I'm very late to this. I feel like I am the last person to be doing this video, but obviously I'm going to be doing the mid-year check-in, book tag, whatever it's called. I think there's some official tag that's been going around for years, but I'm gonna be using Katie's questions. I think she took the original tag and then added some questions on at the end, and everyone's been using it. I think she added some good questions and I'm excited to just get into it. Side note, I tried curling my hair with an actual curler for the first time in years, and it just solidified that I really do not know how to do my hair. Also, it looks so short. Anyways, I have a ton of books to get through. I tried to repeat books as little as possible, but I definitely have some overlap. And since I have a lot to go through, I'm gonna do my best to just rapid fire because we all know I like to talk. So I'm gonna try and keep these brief, but we'll see how this goes. Number one is the best book that I've read so far in 2024, and so far I've only had one 5-star read of the year, and it's one that honestly I'm not even feeling that strongly about it being a 5-star. So far I feel like I haven't had too many books absolutely stand out to me, but I did have two that came to mind pretty quickly. First is obviously the book that I gave 5 stars, which is Morning Star by Pierce Brown. It's book 3 in the Red Rising series, which is a science fiction. This is as far as I read so far, and I just absolutely love this series. If you are intimidated or you've just never really been interested in sci-fi, but you want to give it a try, I definitely recommend this series. It's so fast-paced. I feel like it's not very difficult to understand. I love all the characters, and this was just so good. The other one is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which honestly, I keep forgetting that I've read this year. I think I read it in January and it just feels like it was so long ago. I definitely thought I read this last year, but I did not. So I had to include this. I have been talking and thinking about this book a lot more recently, and it just reminded me how much I really love it. Out of the 3 books that I've read by her, this one is definitely my favorite. I cannot recommend this one enough. It's just so good. If you haven't read this yet, then please, you have to. Number 2 is Best Sequel, and obviously I had to include Morning Star, but I already talked about this one. So my other pick was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is book 2 in an interconnected standalone series, so you don't have to read the first one to go into this one, so maybe it's not really the best pick for Best Sequel, but I just loved this so much. It was definitely giving me 5-star feelings for the first half of the book, and I think I settled on a 4 or a 4.5. Going into it, I knew that everyone loved this even more than the first book, but I feel like I enjoyed it even more than I expected to. Number 3 is new releases that I haven't read yet, but that I want to. And honestly, you could probably pick 90% of the new releases from this year, and I haven't read them yet. But I racked my brain for a little bit, and I feel like the ones that I'm most excited for are Bride, which I do own, but I don't know where it is. Heartless Hunter, which just came out recently, and I have heard amazing things about it. I have it downloaded on my Kindle, but I probably won't get to it for a while. And Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Number 4 is most anticipated releases for the second half of the year, and I'm honestly not that great at keeping up with new releases. The only 2 I know that are coming out that I'm excited for are Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is book 2 after The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I really loved, and A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Oh, they're actually right next to each other. Oh. So book 2 for this comes out in September, and then the other one is by the same author as The Very Secret Society of Regular Witches. This was so cute, and I can't wait to read more from that author. It seems like her new one is going to have very similar vibes to this one. Number 5 is Biggest Surprise, and I feel like you could take this either positive or negative, so I picked one for both, and the one that surprised me in a positive way is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I have talked about before. I really hadn't heard anybody talk about this, but for some reason I was actually pretty excited to go into it, but I just loved this so much more than I would have expected. It was just so cute, and it is one of those books that I really think back on and think it probably could have been a 5-star, which I was not expecting when I picked it up. For the book that surprised me in a negative way, I am very sad to say The Risk, which is book 1 in the Mindfuck series. I have wanted to read this series for so long. I've heard nothing but amazing things. I think it's the highest rated book on my Goodreads, and I've only ever heard people talk about it and give it 5 stars. And it's a dark romance between a serial killer and the FBI agent who works her case, so it sounds very much like something that I would like. But I'm really sad to say that I just did not enjoy it. I just thought that it was so cringy and I could not connect with the writing. I didn't 100% hate my time, so I think I'll still continue the series, but I just went into it looking for a 5-star, and it felt like I was reading something off of Wattpad from like 15 years ago, and not in a good way. I'm very sorry to everyone who loves this series. I went into it with the highest of hopes, and maybe that's part of why I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Number 6 is favorite new author, and this could be a debut author or somebody who's just new to me, and I had to go with Abby Jimenez. So far I've only read Part of Your World and Yours Truly by her, but I absolutely loved these. I don't want to get repetitive because I've already talked about Yours Truly, but I feel like she has quickly become my favorite contemporary romance author. Number 7 is Newest Fictional Crush, and I have to say I'm not really somebody who gets fictional crushes. I might really like a character in a book, but I feel like I don't have that same kind of connection that other people get. I don't really know. But if I had to pick, I think that again, I would say yours truly, Jacob, is the love interest in this, and he was just so sweet. I really enjoyed him. I think that's it for the Abby Jimenez books, I promise. Number 8 is a book that made me cry, and actually throughout my recent reading career, only one book has made me cry, and that was Morningstar. It's not like I was sobbing or anything, but for a couple of minutes, I did cry. Tears actually did fall out of my eyes. I feel like this was quite a milestone for me, my first time crying. Number 9 is a book that made me happy, and I have 2 for this one. First is Remarkably Bright Creatures again. Like I said, this was just so cute. I feel like it was very heartwarming. It made me smile and laugh, and I just had the best time. So I definitely had to mention this one again. And then I have Heartstopper, which I've only read volume 1. This is a graphic novel, and I'm sure that you've heard of it because it's very popular. This was so sweet and cute, and it's just really quick. I had the best time reading it, and I was smiling like 95% of the time. Number 10 is Most Beautiful Book That You've Bought or Received This Year. And I don't know if this is cheating, but I definitely have to say my UK covers of Once Upon a Broken Heart. These were Christmas gifts, but I think that I got them all at the very beginning of June. No, not June, January. So I had to throw them in here. My bestie Mick got me the first one, and she had no idea when she bought this, but it's signed. If you know me, these are some of my favorite books of all time. I love Stephanie Garber, and the fact that I have a book that is signed by her is just, that was the most exciting thing ever, opening this up and seeing that. She's gorgeous. And then my boyfriend got me books 2 and 3. The Ballad of Never After. And I think my favorite cover is A Curse for True Love. I think the spines are also so gorgeous. They're very metallic. But just wait, you have to see the naked hardcovers. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen these in a little while. Oh my god, wait, am I stupid? It's just this one? I am stupid. So, look at this. This is book 1. When Mick got me this, she ordered it just from, is it Waterstones? I don't remember what it's called. I will link it down below, but it's the website where you can buy UK covers and have them shipped for free to the US. But she said she just bought the regular version, and I ended up getting this special edition. She's gorgeous. This is definitely one of my most prized possessions. And I thought these two were the same, but they're not. But they're still foiled and have very pretty details on the spines. I just love this series. Since I got those for Christmas, so technically, I don't know if they really count for 2024, I wanted to include 2 more. The Unmaking of June Farrow. I think this is one of the most gorgeous covers ever. I don't know why, I just really, really like it. And then a couple other with very beautiful sprayed edges. When I saw this, I had to get this copy of A Fate Inked in Blood. I believe this is just the regular version. It's not like a special edition or anything. They probably did a limited print of the sprayed edges when it first came out. So I don't know if it's still available or not, but they just had copies of it everywhere. And then 5 Broken Blades. I don't really love the cover of this one, but come on, look at those sprayed edges. This also, I think, was just the regular first print of the book. And this one also has a very pretty metallic naked hardcover. And I really like the end papers. This is not what this video is about. I need to get back on track. Moving on, number 11 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Basically any of the books in my 24 books to read in 2024 that I haven't read yet. I think I've only read 10 out of the 24 so far. The one from that list that stands out the most to me is Magnolia Parks, just because I've had this book for so long and it's time. I cannot let this sit on my shelves any longer. I have to read it. I actually think I'm gonna read this very soon. I think that's the end of the official tag, and the rest of these are gonna be the questions that Katie came up with. Number 1 is what books do you want to reread this year? I'm honestly not very big on rereading, just because I feel like I'm not very fast and I have so many that I want to read that it almost feels like a waste of time to go back and read something that I've already read. But I do have one that I really want to reread in the fall, which is Legends and Lattes. This was surprisingly one of my favorite books of 2023. This was a 5-star, hands down. I loved this so much. It's cozy fantasy and it just made me so happy. I had the best time reading this, and I feel like it has very good fall vibes, so I've been wanting to reread it in the fall. If I enjoy my reread, then I think I want this to be something that I read every fall. Number 2 is favorite author so far this year. Obviously, I have talked about Abby Jimenez enough, so I'll use this spot to mention Pierce Brown, the author of Red Rising and Morningstar, so I've already talked about him as well. But he's an author that's not new to me because I read his first book last year, and so far this year I've read books 2 and 3 of the Red Rising series, and I just absolutely love them. It is quickly becoming one of my favorite series of all time, so of course he's becoming one of my favorite authors of all time. Number 3 is books I've been putting off, and I actually posted a video recently of me going through every single book that I'm afraid to read. So if anyone wants an in-depth list, you could go watch that video. But I did think of 2 books that I haven't talked about at all yet. First of which is Iron Flame. This is book 2 after, what's it called? Fourth Wing. I fell into the group of people who loved Fourth Wing, but this book is just so chunky and I've heard very mixed reviews, so I just don't want to read it anytime soon. And the other one is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. Technically, I feel like you could put any book by her on this list. She writes contemporary romance, and I'm intimidated because all of her books are pretty long. This one is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I feel like it's her shortest book that she's ever written, and it is 432 pages, which isn't crazy long, but I feel like for a romance, my sweet spot is like 300 to 350 pages, and the fact that her books only get bigger from here is what scares me even more. I think her recent ones are all like 600 pages, which I feel like is crazy, and it's keeping me from picking this one up. Number 4 is a book I enjoy that has mixed reviews, and I'm actually going to talk about a series, even though I've only read the first 2. But it's a series that a lot of people really hate, and it's part of a bigger universe, and I feel like a lot of people just think that you have to slug it through this series to be able to continue, but I've actually really enjoyed them. And that is The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. It's the first series in the Shadowhunters universe, which is like 15-20 books, and I actually read these in middle school, so I know that they're very young, but I started to reread them this year because I want to get more into the Shadowhunters universe, and I will admit they are very young, they're kind of silly, but they're just easy to get through, and I personally find them pretty enjoyable. I feel like they're very good palate cleanser books, and like the perfect thing to just get me out of a reading slump. So I'm not saying that these are the best books ever, but I definitely enjoyed them, and a lot of people don't. Number 5 is series that I want to finish before the end of the year, and I'm probably in the middle of like 15 to 20 series right now, but these are the handful that I really want to prioritize and hopefully finish this year. First is the Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. This is currently just 2 books and a novella that goes in between them, and I've read the first one and the novella, so all I have left is this one, The Ashes and Star-Cursed King. I just feel like since I only have 1 book left, it should be pretty easy to knock this out. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Same exact thing, I only have 1 book left, so it should be really easy to finish, especially because this is a YA book. It shouldn't take me too long to get through. I definitely think I can finish Heartstopper. I think there's 5 volumes out. Since it's a graphic novel, this one only took me like 30 minutes to an hour to finish, so reading the next 4 shouldn't be a challenge. I just might want to pace it out a little bit so I don't finish too quickly. The Chestnut Springs series, I've only read book 1 so far, which is Flawless. I think there's 5 books in the series, and I don't think I'll read all 5 of them, but I would like to read at least a couple more before the end of the year. And ACOTAR, same thing as Chestnut Springs. I have these 3 left, and they're pretty chunky, so I don't think I'll get through all of them, but I would love to get through at least these 2 by the end of the year. Number 6 is 5-star predictions for the end of the year, and I grabbed 2. First is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I don't know that this one's going to be a 5-star, but I've talked about it so many times and how I feel like it has 5-star potential, and I'm definitely going to read it this year, so I'm just trying to manifest and put it into the universe even more than I already have that I want this to be a 5-star. And the other one is probably A Court of Wings and Ruin. I hope this is a 5-star because book 2 was a 4.5. It was pretty close. And just based on where the plot is going in this book, I think it has a lot of potential to be my favorite, so it better be a 5-star. Number 7 is, do you think you'll reach your reading goal? Do you need to change it? I set a goal of 80 books for the year, and currently I've read 46 out of 80, so I am 5 books ahead of schedule. And considering that I have a lot of graphic novels and manga to read this year, I think it's doable for sure. I'm not gonna change it. Last question is, do I have any new goals for the rest of the year? I don't have any new concrete goals, but I do want to continue to read more from my physical TBR and stop buying as many books. And then more so for my channel, I would like to do more reading vlogs, challenges, mood reading, whatever kind of reading vlogs. I just want to do more of them. Wow, that was a lot of talking. We had a lot of questions to get through. I feel like I didn't do too bad of a job of just yapping away, but we'll see what I think when I edit this. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you, Katie, for coming up with these questions. I will link her channel and her video in the description if you haven't watched it yet, but that's it from me. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!